Hey everyone, welcome to a special Get the Word Out with investigative independent journalist Tom LoBianco. I'm so thankful for him. I know he's very,
Okay.
very busy. Um, Tom has an independent news site that you all can follow called 24 Site News. He is doing some really good reporting where he is trying to
Yeah.
hold people
Thank you.
accountable for their behavior, trying to stop abuse, trying to call out bad things. Independent journalists are so important in America today in 2025. We know that local news has really taken a hit over the last few years and everything's so national. And I'm just really thankful for Tom for what you are doing. Thank you for being here. We got a lot to unpack today.
Oh
How are
yeah.
you today?
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's a big story. What's going on with Nathan Peternel and Jonathan Peternel and the Life Church and Micah Beckwith. Um, but yeah, thank you guys. And thank you so much. And there's more coming out. And guys, go over to 24 Site News, 24 SIGHT. It's like eyesight number 24 site news, www.24site.news. I got more coming on this. So yeah,
Yes.
let's unpack it, man. There's so
I mean,
much.
I'm hoping we can blow up this story, get more attention on it so the people that can do something to stop people that are using their power to abuse and harm those that are more vulnerable can be stopped.
Yeah.
We know those of us that put on our big girl and big boy pants when you get out in the real world, you find out quickly those that have the ability to hold people accountable don't always do that because
Oh,
it's hard and sometimes those people go after them. So a lot of times they just kind of look the other way, hoping the people will stop the bad behavior. Spoiler alert, these types of people will continue and until they are
uh,
called out enough, shamed enough publicly, sort of, to lessen the behavior.
yeah.
So yeah, okay. So what is this story? Kind of assume people know a little
Yeah,
bit,
for
but
sure.
assume people don't know anything maybe about what's going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, for sure. So, for folks who don't know, I'm a former Associated Press reporter, former CNN, wrote a biography of Mike Pence about 6 years ago. I used to, work in Indy at the State House. I covered, Mitch Daniels when he was governor for 2 years, then Mike Pence, and been covered national politics for a long time. So, kind of the way that I came into this is that I got contracted to work on I got pulled into this job reporting on Micah Beckwith back
Right.
around the beginning of the year.
Okay. Who's our
And
lieutenant governor in Indiana,
yep,
everybody? And he's a
Indiana,
pastor.
Indiana Lieutenant Governor, who's a pastor at the Life Church. He is employed by the taxpayers of the state of Indiana. He is also employed by the head of Life Church, who is a man named Nathan Peternel. And so that's where I started on this thing. I'm doing a lot of reporting on Micah Beckwith and whatnot. And so I'm the one who broke the stories about the deep fake porn that was being
Oh,
watched in Beckwith's
wow.
office. Yeah. Yeah. So I broke those stories a couple months ago. You
Good
can read all
job.
those. Thank you.
It's
Yes.
really disturbing and horrifying that these are leaders of our state government and they're laughing at, looking at, and watching deep fake porn of coworkers, right?
Yeah.
Coworkers.
Yeah. It's a state lawmaker's wife that so I broke those stories about 2 months ago at 24 Site News. And if you go to 24 Site News and click on the one where I have the interview with one of the victims, it's her full name is redacted and her face is redacted out of respect for her and concerns, regarding what this is. But if you go to the bottom of that story, you will see the original deepfake stories that I
I
wrote,
did
the
see
deepfake.
that.
That's
Yeah.
I've been covering politics for about 25 years, and I've been covering this Micah Beckwith stuff for a little bit, and I have to tell you that about 2 weeks ago, I had a bunch of my sources start texting me, and they're like, "Oh my God, did you see Nathan Peternell's son was arrested?" And I was like, "What?" And they're sending me, some like
So
the
Nathan
WTH.
Peternell is who is he?
So Nathan, yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna bring everybody up to speed.
No, you're
So
fine.
Micah Beckwith is lieutenant governor of
Right.
the state. He's a hardcore Pentecostal pastor, and he is really good friends, and he is employed by a man named Nathan Peternell, who himself is also major Pentecostal pastor.
Is
He
he pastor
runs.
of the same church as Micah Beckwith?
Yeah, so he
Is
runs
this
the
one of those things where
network.
the churches is so big that they have
Yeah,
multiple
they have.
pastors?
Yeah, he runs four churches called it's Life Church Indiana, and there's one
Okay.
in Eagle Creek. It's around Indianapolis, so there's one in Eagle Creek on the west side of Indy. There's one up in Fishers, which it's technically Fishers is its own place. But for everybody, if you're not from Indy, like it's a suburb basically. There's one up in Noblesville, a little bit further north. That's the one that Micah Beckwith, the lieutenant governor,
Okay.
operates. So yeah, so the lieutenant governor operates one of the four, and then there's a fourth one up in Pendleton, which kind of, on your way up to Anderson as you're going up 69 towards
Okay.
Fort Wayne.
I did not know that Micah Beckwith church was involved in four churches. That's new information
Yeah,
to me. So
yeah, it's
that
it's
because that's where
interesting.
I was starting to get confused because I knew these pastors were related and friends and talking to each other, but I didn't know it was all the same network of churches.
Yeah. So Nathan Peternel is the head of the all four of them.
Oh,
He
okay.
he
So he's
controls the
okay.
network, and Micah Beckwith controls one of them. He is the head of one of those churches, the one in Noblesville. So Nathan, and I should tell you too that they're both very politically active. They forged a very close tie with Charlie Kirk on the national stage. When he was still alive, and they would go to his campus ministry events. They would do those together frequently. They hosted Charlie Kirk at the Noblesville campus of Life Church back in 2022. I'm sure folks have probably heard about Beckwith and Peternell's podcast called Jesus, Sex, and Politics. Um, so what happened is about a couple weeks ago, I got a text from a bunch of sources, and they're sending me some local stories from like WTHR, some other good local news outlets that say that somebody named Jonathan Wesley Peternell, is 24 of Pendleton, has been arrested on four felony counts of trafficking in child pornography. And I was looking at this and I was like, well, this is, I mean, it's stunning, right? And guys, I should
So
note
the
too,
pastor of these
s-
four churches
yeah,
who works with Micah Beckwith, his son has
son,
been
yes,
arrested
yes,
for child pornography
yes.
and
And guys, I should note, I'm not going to go into detail on this stuff because of what it is. I
oh
try
yeah.
to avoid it as much as possible, only give the relevant legal parts of what we know and the news parts. If you go and listen to my interview with one of the victims of Nathan Piedonell Page, there are some sensitive discussions in there. So,
Yes.
do
This is
make
a
sure.
sensitive topic, everybody,
Yeah,
that be aware. We are talking about sexual abuse,
yeah,
child pornography.
yeah.
Yes. So
Do make
we're not going to
sure.
get into the details of
Yeah.
it, but we are
Do
talking about really sensitive topics here.
Yeah, and do make sure earbuds are in if you got
Yeah.
kids
This isn't
around.
for kids to
Save it for
listen to.
later.
Right, right, right.
Yeah,
Thanks
and
for
it's
saying that.
and guys, take good care of yourselves too. I mean,
Yeah,
this
if
stuff,
this is sensitive to you, a lot of
yeah,
people have had past
yeah,
child sexual abuse. You do not have
yeah,
to listen to this episode if it
yeah,
is bringing up past things. Just love to
yeah,
you. I'm just
yeah,
hugs to you, and I'm sorry. And
yeah.
I'm thankful that you're talking about such a sensitive topic because this is horrifying
Thanks.
and we need to shine a light on it and we
Yeah,
need to show. One of the things I wanted to do today was show
yeah,
if you are someone who has been harmed by someone in power and you went to the
yeah,
people that should do something and they didn't, what else can you do? Well, you can get a
yeah,
hold of an investigative
yeah,
reporter. Like,
yeah,
like
yeah,
Ronan Farrow, who
yeah,
helped stop Harvey Weinstein.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, reach out, guys. Yeah, and if look, if you know something, if something's happened, number one, always report it to the police. Okay, no matter when it happened, even if you're worried about statute of limitations, don't worry about it. Report it. Always err on the side of
yeah.
reporting. And if you have, especially if you're in Indiana, there's a very good group called the Indiana Coalition to End Sexual Assault.
Oh,
ICESA. I think it's endsexualassault.org. It's run by some really good folks. Christina Hale, the former state rep, used to run it. Beth White, former clerk, does it now. Greg Zeller, former attorney general, he was a part of it, I believe. And they have good resources if you know anybody who's going through this.
thanks
Okay,
for telling us
so
that. That's nice. I
yeah,
appreciate everybody that's helping with that because it's such in our past, we're just don't talk about it, ignore it,
Yeah.
pretend it doesn't happen. And now we're kind of dealing with the repercussions of that cultural
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, what happens when you don't talk about it is this. And so let me bring everybody up to speed on where this story is. The son, the 24-year-old son of the pastor, who's really good friends with Micah Beckwith and is his employer, he was arrested on, they found 200 videos of this on his devices, his cell phones, laptops, tablets. They also, and this is an important detail, it's very astounding to me. They also found 50 videos of his father, the pastor, the lead pastor, Nathan Peternel, and his mother having sex. They found that on the son's cell phone. It is unclear to me, and I'm still I mean, I'm reporting on all this. It's unclear to me how they got there and who was filming them, why they existed.
It's
Now,
just really gross. It's just really
yeah.
gross.
Now I published audio. Now the church did not want to give me the audio of Nathan Peternell's sermon that he delivered after his son was arrested. But I got a source inside who was able to get me the audio of what it was. No, I should note it sounds heavily lawyered. And Nathan Peternell does refer to those videos and says it might not have been a wise decision to have those videos. Um, we're still learning more about that. Um, I will tell you that I've been talking with victims for about 2 weeks now, and gathering stories and as a reporter, verifying stories. Right, we always want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence in this
Right.
to make sure we're 100% correct. So about like a week and a half ago or so. Um, there was a woman who put an anonymous YouTube video detailing what happened in a premarital counseling session a decade ago in at Nathan Peternell's Fisher's church. And we exchanged some messages online. We started texting. I talked with her a number of times on the phone and got it to a point where she felt comfortable talking about this using her first name. Did an interview. I was able to verify her identity and was also able to verify the fiance who was with her at the time. And I published that yesterday at 24 Site News. So go on over and read the story. The interview is heartbreaking, and it includes sensitive details, but these are important details because what we have right now is a criminal case against the son for what he did, okay, which is terrible. This, to as best I know, is the first reporting about something that the father,
Okay.
Nathan Peternell, did.
Okay.
And what happened, and guys, I'm going to tell you not in detail, but this is the sensitive part, okay? Um, what he did in 2016, according to Paige, and she was 17 years old and pregnant at the time. And I'm not saying her last name. And her fiance, who was a 19-year-old boy, man, they wanted to get married, and they were advised to go to the Life Church in Fishers. And they talked with a woman named Maria Davis who signed them up for this and said, "Yep, this is a pretty basic process. This is what you do. Why don't you go talk with Pastor Nathan Peternell?" And they have a little introductory meeting with him in the late winter of 2015. It's like the end of 2015. And then about a week later, in January 2016, they go in for their first session. And they arrive at the Fishers Church at his office, which is in a little small building next to the church in Fishers. And he welcomes them in. There's nobody else there. It's just the three of them. And he walks them to his office and welcomes them to his office and closes the door. And it's after hours. And he says that they're just going to do a regular talk about developing trust, establishing trust, maintaining trust. All sounds pretty normal. Um, and they do that. And at the end of it, they're wrapping up. And he says, "Oh, don't go, don't go. We need to talk about sex." And at this point, page says that they're thinking, well, it's a pastor, so it's probably going to be, well, this is what the Bible says.
Hmm.
This is the advice about, how to be safe. I mean, what most people would consider to be pretty normal religious talk about this. Um, Instead, he starts inquiring about their sex lives and how they have sex in graphic detail. He refers to body parts. He's pressuring them. And remember, this is a closed door. She's 17 years old at the time. He's 19. I mean, barely an adult at this point. Um, and they're stunned and they don't know what to do. And the fiance at the time, the young man, is just shocked and silent. And because he is not answering the questions Nathan Peternel wants, then Nathan Peternel starts raising his voice and almost yelling at him, saying, be a man, and trying to bully him, trying to force him to discuss these intimate details of what they do. There's a point where he says that he wants to know if they watch pornography together, if they use sex toys together. Um, and after a while, it probably goes on for like 10, 15 minutes or something. They leave and they're like, we're never going back. Like, this is terrible.
I'm glad they didn't continue to go to that
Yeah,
place because it sounds like he might have had more closed door discussions with them had they gone back.
yes, yeah. So they reported it to the church about a year later. They
That
kept
was pretty
contemporary.
brave of them. They're still
It
pretty
is.
young. That's
They
really brave of them.
very brave, very, yes.
Because they're
Um,
probably thinking, oh, he might be doing this to other couples, and we
yeah,
don't want them to go through what we went through.
right, exactly. Um, then they kept contemporaneous notes and they reported it to the church. Now, and they also reported it to the ordaining group for Pentecostals, the
Oh, wow.
Assemblies of God. Yeah, to the headquarters in Springfield, Missouri. And they, you know, they they told them, this is what happened. We don't want people going there. Okay. So um they talked about this, and at the time they didn't think that they got a response from this. Now, I did talk to somebody who was at the church at the time who told me that after they were alerted to this, the other pastors spoke with Nathan Peternell and said that, well, number one, you violated the guidelines that we have because you're supposed to alert people when it's an open schedule for premarital counseling. So all the pastors, all the leadership needs to know that schedule. You cannot be scheduling things outside of it. And two, there needs to be another adult around
Oh,
for,
wow. So they're
yeah,
trying to. It does look like at least they're trying to have some
yeah.
accountability to protect young
Sounds
adults
like
from
it.
this happening. But did he have some sort of repercussion? So he didn't do
No,
this.
no. I mean,
It
that
was just
was
like a brief talking to, like, hey, you should do
yeah,
this. And then that was it.
yeah. And then he, continued to pastor, and he's still pastoring now.
I I guess
It's
we'll see once this story hopefully gets some light shown on it and more people hear of it. If there are people listening to this or watching this right now that have a similar story, this is a
yeah,
great time to get a hold of you, right? Of
yeah,
you, Tom LoBianco, you're
yep,
everywhere on social media, you've got your own
yeah,
website. Reach out and say, I had this happen so that we can gather more evidence. The more evidence
yeah,
about this, the quicker we can help stop,
yeah, guys,
abusive situations from
yeah.
happening.
Reach out to me. So my website is www.24site.news. Find me, is my name, Tom LoBianco, is on Facebook. I have a lot of people hitting me up on there. Um, you can email me at Tom at 24site, 24SIGHT .news. Find me on there. If subscribe to make sure that you get everything as I'm writing them. And if you get my emails, then you can also just reply to the email if you know something. All right, you
That's
want to
yeah.
reach
So I
out.
mean, I would love to be able to help just spread the word about this so we can stop this from happening. Just like imagine your son or daughter going and seeking religious counseling, thinking they're going to get the appropriate thing and having that happen.
Yeah.
That's terrible. I'm really impressed with this young couple, and my heart
Yes.
goes out to them. I'm
Yes.
thankful that they tried to do the right thing with the churches.
Yeah.
They put out their own video, and I just want to
Yeah.
explain why they're keeping their name private. Look at how we treat
Yeah.
victims of sexual assault, sexual abuse, these types of stories. A lot of times we victim blame, victim shame them. There's a
Yeah.
lot of just because we just because of the nature of it, and then when people are in power, they're really good at acting like they're the victims.
Yeah.
They're like, poor me, you're calling
Yeah.
out my horrible behavior. I'm such a victim. They're really good at doing that. So I completely understand why they are keeping their last names like
Yeah.
private. And if I were related to them and love them, I would recommend they do the same, honestly. But then at the same hand, they're working really hard to try to stop this person from
Yeah.
hurting others. And I just think that's really heroic of
Yes.
them.
It's an incredible amount of courage. It's
Because it takes
really,
you're reliving your
yeah.
trauma every time you're
Yeah.
going over this. That's
Yeah.
it's hard on these people that have had that happen to
Yeah.
constantly say the bad things that have happened to them. Um, yeah, we
They,
just
you
kind
know
of need to
what?
acknowledge that.
I've reached out to Nathan Peternel multiple times
Uh-huh.
ever since the arrest of his son.
Uh-huh.
He's never gotten back to me on any of this stuff. He doesn't reply to things, and that's I mean that's I can't force anybody to talk. But as a matter of professional course, it's you talk to the people involved, and I've reached out to him repeatedly. I will tell you that I had a very bizarre phone call with a woman named Rebecca from the Fishers campus who picked up the phone. And when I told her I needed to talk with Nathan about this because it's regarding him, she's asked if she had a contact for him, and she said she did not. And I was like, okay, well, do you have, can you give me an email? Can you put me through to his voicemail? And she says, nope, I will not do that. I was like, okay, well, do you have somebody who handles press questions for you, media inquiries? And she says, yes. And I was like, oh, good. Okay. All right. Who is it? And she says, no comment.
So she
And
wouldn't tell you who the
I,
contact the person when you're
yeah,
the press.
yeah. I started like, I was like, well, I can't, you don't know what I'm writing about. Like, you can't
Right.
no comment a thing. And as a matter of professional course, I have to tell you what I'm writing about.
Right. I saw this. I
I
didn't
will,
realize that until I learned about Ronan Farrow and the Harvey Weinstein allegation.
yeah,
I had no idea that happened, that you reached out to the person
yeah,
that's being
yes,
accused of the things and you asked,
right,
because he actually had hours and hours of conversations with
yes,
Harvey before the story
yes,
came out. Yeah.
yes. I want to hear, right? Because I want to hear what Nathan has to say. I want to hear what the church has to say about this because it involves them broadly speaking as well. And it was just a very bizarre interaction. I ended up getting. I'm a reporter. I was able to find this. I was able to find Nathan's email, so I already had his cell phone. But you really do try to be diligent in these things to
So you've
cover your
reached out for
bases.
comment multiple
Yep.
different places, multiple different times,
Yep.
and you have not heard anything back.
Yep.
And nothing from the church.
Yep,
Okay.
they're not talking about it. And
Yeah.
one of the things that's really strange to me is that after I wrote those the deepfake stories about the deepfake porn that was being watched in Micah Beckwith's office, um is uh, it, he he's talking about it now because now it's in court documents that the grand jury investigation that's underway,
So
which
he's probably
started.
being asked because he's doing
Yeah.
press multiple times
Yeah.
for being lieutenant governor.
He's on air constantly on the big radio station in Indy, WIBC. He has delivered sermons regularly at the Noblesville campus. He has yet to say anything about what's happening with Nathan Peternel and Jonathan Peternel. I haven't heard a word from him. The only thing I've gotten from the office, from the lieutenant governor's office, and I should note, why is this so important? I mean, number one, it's important because of the topic. I mean, that's important no matter where it happens, but it has this added element of the state office and the powerful politics that's involved because Micah Beckwith and Nathan Peternell use that church for political campaigns, political rallies. They
Seems like
have
we're supposed to have a separation of church and state.
not there. It's not not at that one. And so the official statement from Lieutenant Governor's office is that he only became aware of the charges against Nathan Peternel's son after the news broke on October 23rd. But he hasn't said anything else about it since then. And I have yet to hear anything with regards to the broader concerns in the church. And I'll tell you that um, without betraying anything, folks reach out to me and they want to maintain their confidentiality, and that
Definitely.
is,
Right.
that is an important part of this. I have been hearing from a lot of folks who have similar stories to Paige's and her fiance's, and I'm in the process of verifying those stories, and we'll
Right.
be
But
reporting on them. Yeah,
I'm just so thankful that you're doing this story. And again, if you
yeah,
are listening to this, and especially pertaining to these four churches, these life churches,
yeah,
if you have abuse, something that you know about with abuse, and these young people that were attending these churches, and you can reach out to Tom so that he can get the more of you, and he can keep your name, your
yeah,
identity private. That's extremely important that you protect
yeah,
your sources, but the amount of people that come forward do help prove that
yeah,
these are people we need to protect others from. And that is so important right now. That is why I imagine the couple that came out and reached out to you, that's why they're doing this, to try to stop people from being harmed. Um, it is, we do need to talk just a little bit, if you don't mind, about the nature
yeah.
of this church. So a lot
Mm-hmm.
of times just people think a church is a safe place. They're
Mm-hmm.
Christians, they're following Jesus's teachings. And when you look at what Jesus did in the testaments, the New Testament, it
Sure.
seems very progressive and loving, and he's not abusing anyone, and he's speaking good things.
Right.
And so I think sometimes there's this blind belief that we can just trust people if they have the name pastor next to their
Mm-hmm.
name. And it's really important to realize predators
Mm,
use titles like that to get to more people.
mm,
I do have a little bit of training on this, which you don't know because we just
mm,
met. I'm a former fifth grade teacher at a Catholic school in New
wow.
Albany, Indiana. And when I first started teaching, I believe it was my second year, I was paid to go to, or I wasn't paid, I was told to go to an all day, like Saturday training to
Yeah.
learn about sexual predators,
Wow.
because of this was during the abuse
Yeah.
with the Catholic Church happening.
Yeah.
And I, I found the training extremely helpful. It was a very knowledgeable man that came, and all day he taught us.
Mm,
And one of the first things he said, he's like, don't look for the kids, the signs of the kids being abused. Look at all the adults, the trusted adults that are wanting to be
yeah.
in rooms with your children.
Yeah.
Look for them because they model good people. He's like, they model
Mm,
you all. They model good
yeah.
teachers, they model good
Yeah.
coaches. They pretend to be these amazing people. They want to get titles like coach, teacher, priest, pastor. They
Yeah.
want to get those names so that they can have these people in closed doors, and it's acceptable.
Yeah.
And then they're very quickly good at silencing them. Don't tell anybody. And they do
Yeah.
certain things to manipulate young people and children. And so, anyway, I just want to let you know I had that
Yeah.
training. I've never forgot it. And I
Yeah.
taught my children the things that I needed
Mm,
to teach them,
good.
like, this is your body.
Yes.
No, you're in control of your own body. And I've talked to women that grew up in a Pentecostal type church. And like,
Mm,
one of them recently said to me, she goes, Sarah, in a Pentecostal type church, you're not taught this is your own body. You're
that's right.
taught the husband, the
Yes.
father, the brother,
That's
the
right.
uncle, the man is your
Yeah.
protector. You're
Yes.
not in control. And so you really don't learn the language that we're taught now about consent. Like, my 7-year-old daughter's like, no, I don't want to give you a hug. It's my body, and I don't want to do that right now. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yep. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, she doesn't want a hug right now. So they're not getting that type of education. So we kind of need to be aware not all Christianity is the same. And
Yeah.
also, people abuse the system. There are lots of
Yeah.
great
Mm,
great Pentecostal pastors out there. There are
yes.
lots of great priests out there. I'm not here
Yes.
saying all of them are bad, but the systems in
Mm,
place that make it so they can be around young people without being watched, we got to stop
mm,
because predators get into these places.
yeah. Yeah. It's as you start to learn about patterns of abuse, um, and something as I'm learning about as I'm reporting about this, it's very important for folks who have experienced this, because oftentimes there can be a feeling of shame and guilt
Yes.
afterwards, it's not about you, it's about what the abuser, that person is the one who did that. And what makes it so insipid is that, for especially with children and teenagers, when you're that young, and this is something I can't tell you how proud I am of Paige. I
Yeah, just hearing what you have to say for her, what a
I'm
hero.
very proud. Um and there's a moment there where she says, I just wish that I'd known back then. And it's such a common sentiment, because you look back with knowledge, and you understand what it is
But you
now.
didn't have any of that going in
Didn't
there.
have
Going into
it.
that room, that trusted
Yeah.
pastor, you didn't have that knowledge.
No.
And it's okay that you don't have that knowledge. It's
Right.
not your fault that this happened to you. It's not your fault that you didn't voice it right
Yeah.
away or you didn't shut it off right away. It's kind of our human behavior patterns, and these predators know, they know that about human beings. They
Yeah.
know that about our culture. They know what to say to silence us. And so it also can take years to process. Like, I'm really
Yeah.
impressed that it just took a year for this couple. Probably really helped that they had each other.
Yes.
They weren't
Yeah.
by themselves. That probably helped them a lot. I'm glad they had each other. Um, but a lot of times people suppress the trauma because that's our
All right.
brain's way of surviving it. And so I
Yeah.
hate these laws on, like, you have to report by so many years, because sometimes it takes 5 years for your brain
Hmm.
to let it come back into your mind what happened to you. Sometimes
There's
you don't
Yeah.
know what it is. You're too young to even know what happened to you. So you don't
Yeah.
realize until you get old enough.
Yeah. Something it's very common, is to among the perpetrators, the abusers, is to try to create a sense of isolation. That's using
Yes.
shame to create
Yes.
isolation. And as I've talked with folks, one of the things that I've heard from them is, after people have been finding each other, and talking with each other, online, after the arrest of Jonathan Peternel. What I've heard repeatedly is, um, this sense of catharsis they feel from talking with each other and realizing that they're not alone. That
Right.
this is and understanding that, and that can help to have some healing, and to know what it is that happened, what it is that was going on. Again, I don't want to get too far out ahead of the reporting, because I'm in the process of verifying. I'm in I I will just say this is a pattern, it seems. I don't want to say more than
I'm
that.
gonna assume there's some anger inside of you from hearing this. You're not going to be unscathed just from hearing these people's trauma.
Yeah.
And I imagine the anger you have at these people's stories of their abuse fuels you to keep going. And
Yeah. You know what?
but I'm
It's
just I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm thankful you're
Yeah.
doing
Thank
this,
you. Thanks, Sarah.
like, because
Yeah.
I understand, because just me, I get people's stories of trauma, and it hits you because you
Yeah.
genuinely care about the people.
I feel, it hurts. Um uh when I hear about it, it just hurts. And one of the things I'm so it's I think is so powerful. And as a parent myself, I feel this, and I'm very proud of these folks. Even though you think, they're
'Cause they're
parents
having to relive
themselves.
some of their worst
Yeah,
moments to
I'm
try to
very
stop these people.
yeah, I'm very proud of them, because they're finding leadership and coming forward and
And
talking
like,
about it.
and you kind of can control your own narrative. You've been
Yeah.
keeping it inside,
Yeah.
feeling shame that you don't need to feel, but that's
Yeah.
that's how these people work.
Yeah.
And you finally are like, no, this isn't my fault. I
Yeah.
was allowed to not say no
Yeah.
right when it happened.
Yeah.
This is with human, what humans do and what young people do. And so it's kind of you're giving these people their own power back. And there's a beautiful thing about that. So I'm just
Thank you.
like meeting you's giving me a lot of hope,
Thanks.
so
I'm very proud. I'm proud of them, and I'm very honored to have any part that I can.
I
It's
hope
it,
people are listening. I mean, I hope nobody was hurt, but if there are other people out there that were hurt by these leaders in this church, I hope that they listen and I hope that they reach out to you and that they
yeah.
trust you. That's another reason I want to have you on this show because
Thanks.
it's a little bit more intimate than just the factual reporting. I wanted to get into you're a trusted person. You've done this for 25 years. You know how to keep sources private.
Yeah.
And this is sort of a way for people to see, oh, you don't have to be the silenced victim.
Yeah.
You can share your story and help to stop other people from suffering the same
Yeah.
thing. It's ironic to me that this side of the government uses those words like groomer and
Oh, I know.
like I think it's really gross. It's kind of
I
like
know.
they're trying to shine a light on, don't look at what we're
It's
doing. Look at what those people, look at the made up things we're saying about other people while we're actually
yeah.
doing this gross behavior. It upsets me a little bit.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Yeah. All I can say is, and I don't want to get too far out ahead of myself with stories that I'm working on right now. Because I got more coming on this as I button things up and get the details verified. Yeah, what Paige said of this I wanted to say something else that she said, which I've
Sure.
heard from different people as well. She talked about how at one of the services that she attended, so she was not a regular at the church that her fiance was and his family, um, and but she was very surprised when attending one. So I guess this would have been like the fall or winter of 2015. Um, she was testing it out, getting a sense of the church, and Nathan Peternel was up there talking about the incredible sex that he has with his wife. And
Wow. That just seems
yeah,
very inappropriate for a church sermon.
yeah, in front of and in detail, what he like I mean, again, in graphic detail about what he does with his wife, in front of uh, the entire congregation. This is families. This is it's children in there where he's talking about this. And one of the things which I look for as a reporter, and it's really, we always say you follow the reporting, right? That's the story is there. It's just finding it. Um, this starts to answer the question for me, this big question: why are there videos of him and his wife having sex on the son's cell phone? Why, like, why? I mean, right? And now, right? Like now I hear that and I'm like, oh, okay. It's the picture is starting to come together.
Yeah,
Um,
since he's saying it in his sermons, the
yeah.
type of mind, it seems pretty gross. Yeah, I have had my own religious trauma. I've shared a little bit about it on some of my
Hmm.
shows before, but I had a youth pastor
Oh.
be extremely inappropriate. And when she first came, I was very new.
Hmm.
I think I was a seventh grader. She had us go on a retreat and
Hmm.
she told us in extreme detail her sexual abuse that led to her becoming an alcoholic,
Oh
and
my
then she
God.
gets saved and all this stuff, and I
Wow.
thankfully, I had a friend with me, my best friend, and, like, the next night, she
Wow.
spent the night at my house, and she's like, "I don't think that was appropriate for her
Yeah.
to share that with
No.
7th to 12th graders."
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
so I learned not to trust this person,
Hmm.
but then I still kept going to youth group, and the amount of damage this woman did to our group of people, and then once she
Hmm.
left the church, I heard she did it to other churches she was youth pastor of. It's a trauma bond. So she was trying to trauma bond with us by making we were crying.
Wow.
She was in
Oh my God.
she was explaining sex acts I did not know about at 7th grade, and I didn't come home and tell
Jesus.
my parents because I'm not supposed to know that stuff.
Oh
And
my
it was
God.
to make us care about her and have this intimate relationship with her very quickly. And she would have youth people spend the night at her house and stuff. So this was, I'm 44. So this was a while ago. This
Wow.
is the age of Michael Jackson had kids sleep over at his place and we all thought it was okay error. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that we've moved away from that.
Jesus, I'm sorry, Sarah.
But I'm just saying, like, this rings a bell when you're telling me this story.
Yeah.
These types of people share too intimate of a details of things to
Mm.
get you in some type of relationship that isn't appropriate. It's
Mm.
like a human thing where you're bonding with
Yeah.
them. And so that
Yeah.
kind of seems like what he's doing part of it, but I don't know. I don't think that way. So,
You know, yeah, I'm trying to think about how much I can say,
right.
like of
Oh
what I
yeah, you can wait and come
know
back later
behind
once
the
you've got more
yeah.
reporting. That's fine.
Um yeah, I would just say that folks I mean, check out 24 Site News, read the story from Page. And I think that you'll see that well, I can just say that's something I'm hearing frequently from independently.
Yeah.
From so seems seems there's more. I just wanted to,
Yeah,
and I'm reporting
usually
it
when it
all.
happens one
Yeah.
time, it's happened a bunch of times because
Yeah.
in my instance, I tracked down, oh, she's doing this in other churches. So
Mm.
it's not like she just did it that one time to us.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, I think there's a couple morals of this episode today. Don't blindly trust people because of their label. The
Yeah.
youth pastor, coach,
Mm.
teacher, priest, whatever. Don't blindly trust people. Don't blindly assume they're going to give you right advice. And if you're taken advantage of, or your children or somebody, it's not your fault.
Right.
That's so
That's
important. It's
right.
not your
Right.
fault. And there are people that will help you share your
Yeah.
story, and you can do it anonymously, so that we can
Yeah.
try to protect people. I live in Palmyra and I love my neighbors so much, and I just kind
Hmm.
of see sometimes people blindly trust people that have a label.
Hmm.
And I'm like, just like I try to warn them, like just because they have that label doesn't mean they're great, you know.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah,
but
guys, if you're in Indiana, or not in Indiana, if whatever if you have a sense that something might have happened, you're unsure, even, definitely check out the Indiana Coalition to End Sexual Assault. It's endsexualassault.org. They have people who are trained in this, who have a lot of experience in talking with folks, helping them to work through things. They have I think the terminology is trauma informed
mhm,
volunteers, so they know how to talk with folks about this stuff. And it's never, like, if it happened a year ago or 20 years ago, whatever. It's always speaking up, finding other people, and finding community.
you're not alone. You're not
Yeah,
alone.
yeah,
Yeah. The numbers are very disturbing how many people have
yeah,
had
yeah,
some type of sexual assault, sexual
yeah.
trauma. Also, I have to say this because I've just been around Dr. Tim Peckenough. He's an ER doctor. If you don't have insurance and you don't have a lot of money and you're struggling with some sort of trauma, you can go to your ER, and they
Mm,
are required by law to take you and give you care. And
mm,
the ER staff, will know the services around you that you
great.
can go
Yes.
to. So, like, you say you're having some type of dark thoughts, or, anything. It doesn't have to be
Mm,
a sickness. It can be a mental health
mm,
a mental health thing. You can go to the ER and say what it is and tell them, and those professionals have to be
yeah,
anonymous, and they will give you resources. So
yeah,
I didn't really fully understand that until I met Tim. Like, I didn't know that
yeah,
they legally have to take you, and so yeah.
yeah.
um yeah, okay, so hopefully you'll come on again.
Yeah.
especially as this story develops.
Yes.
I'd like to try to help shine a light on your reporting. This is something dear to my heart. Let's stop young people from being
Yeah.
abused, and let's hold these people accountable. I am interested to see how Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith and our governor Mike Braun
Mm,
handled this situation. I know that Mike Braun didn't necessarily want Micah Beckwith to be his lieutenant governor, and there were some shady
mhm,
things with the delegates and how he was elected,
mm,
or voted in by delegates. He
mhm,
didn't like have an election, and then he was tied to Mike Braun. I know that they don't necessarily get along, is what I've heard.
mhm,
That those two don't get along, but I would like to know, um, are they going to comment on this?
mm.
This is this is the church group where Micah Beckwith is still a pastor. He's making money.
Yeah.
He's still going and doing his
It's
things. Does he still
it's
have his podcast? Is it still called that?
they have, it's interesting. Yeah, the podcast is still up. They have
What's the name
not
of it?
called Jesus, Sex and Politics, and they have not taped any episodes since 2 days after the search warrant was executed on the Peternel's house. And the father, Nathan and Jonathan, who were there together when the police searched the house and were alerted of what they were investigating. So there have been no podcast since that.
That's interesting. I mean, the
Yeah,
podcast
yes,
name seems
yeah,
inappropriate after hearing
yeah,
your reporting.
yeah. And there was a an episode that they had with an expert on sex trafficking and an advocate for victims and survivors that they had aired on December 10th, 2021, and shortly after Jonathan Peternell was arrested, they deleted that episode.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what really makes me mad. They're acting like they're doing the right thing and trying to protect people, and it doesn't seem like that. Like, oh man. So yeah, it just makes me a little upset personally. So we need to protect everybody. Everybody that's listening, warn people about
Yeah.
this church. Not everybody's going to listen to our episode. Not everybody's going to follow your reporting. So if you are, warn people about this group. So they're known as Life Church. They all have
The
different names.
so Nathan Peternell is the lead pastor of Life Church, which is four churches around Indianapolis. So there's four campuses of Life Church. And he employs the lieutenant governor, Micah Beckwith, at one of those churches, which is the Noblesville campus of Life Church.
Okay. So they're all called Life Church on a different
Yeah.
campus. That's just I
Yep.
was unclear about
Yeah.
that. That
Life
makes
Church
sense.
Noblesville, Life Church Pendleton, Life Church Eagle Creek, Life Church Fishers.
It seems like with the conversation you had with the Rebecca person that they might not be notifying members of this church about what's
Um,
going on.
yeah, I don't know.
So I
I
mean, yeah,
don't
you
know
can't say
what's
that, but
going inside there. Yeah.
I'm just going to say if you have friends that attend this church, they might not know what's going on, so you
Yeah.
might want to just warn them. Let's just try to protect as many people
Yeah.
as possible. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Check. I got more coming. Just head on over to 24 Site News. As
Yeah,
I
if you're
verify
watching
things
this,
and
if you're watching this and you're supportive of what Tom LoBianco is doing, please follow his things. He kind of needs our subscription services. He needs us tracking him so that we can pay for this journalism. You're driving places in your car, you're
thanks,
meeting with
guys. Yeah.
people, you're tracking all this stuff down. This is
Thank you.
expensive. So yeah, so please help support. Go to 24 Site News. And support his work, and then you'll see when his news stories comes out, and that is a great way to support the victims of this type of abuse. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
because
Sarah.
the problem seems
That's
so overwhelming that we kind of want to shut it off sometimes, but we need to just hang on. This is
yeah.
one easy thing we can do to support this work to
Thank you.
stop abuse, and that's why I'm having you on the show. I'm
Thanks.
just so
Thanks,
thankful.
Sarah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you. And yeah, let me know when you want to come back
yeah,
on. I know you got a busy day, you got
definitely.
something coming up.
Yeah.
Everybody, please share. We've got a Substack, Project Next Indiana. You put your email in, you can get all episodes emailed to you, and you pick out which ones sound interesting to you. We're also a podcast on Apple and Spotify, and then you can share this on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. So just look for the Project Next logo with the up arrow. And I really appreciate all the support. We've had a lot of growth lately, just not us pumping out ads or anything, just you all picking it up and showing it more. So I'd like to thank everybody for helping with that. And we also have merch coming. I'm really excited about that. You can get
Oh,
a
what's up?
Project Next shirt and magnet and mug and stuff soon, so that is coming.
Oh, what's up? Check
Yeah,
that out.
thank you for doing this. Thank you for,
Thank
I
you.
just
Thanks,
got your
Sarah.
number and reached you. Thanks for contacting me, and let me know when you're ready to come back
Yeah,
on with more reporting.
gladly. Thanks, Sarah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Okay.
Bye everybody.
See you guys. Bye.